Hi everyone, welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. It is our Royal Ascot special day 1 and 2. The remainder of the week coming up on Wednesday, so make sure you join Dan Hussey for that. He'll be hosting with a stellar team. This is a proper team though. Micheál Deasy, Declan Rix, Adele Mulrennan. Hello everyone, how are you?
Hello, Thomas.
That was Declan Rix speaking, if anyone was... Adele can say hello. Hi, Adele.
Hi, everyone. You all right?
And the dulcet tones of Micheál Deasy.
How's it going?
That's how you can identify everyone throughout the podcast if that's how you're listening. They all sound quite different. And it's a good team amassed for Royal Ascot days 1 and 2. We've got 10 races to get through. I know every race is on ITV in some shape or form, but we're going to be doing the first 5 races each day. Then we'll have an any other bets section. It's a bit like when we do Cheltenham. And then we will have a best lays and best bets section at the end. Also, let me get everything out of the way before we get into the previews then. A reminder that this is going to be up on Insights later today, the podcast in written form for days 1 and 2. Head to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all the bets. That's how you can see all the bets in one place. If you like our content and you're watching on YouTube, give this video a like, which is in the form of a thumbs up. You can subscribe for free. You can also subscribe to the Matchbook podcast, and you get all of our podcasts across all sports downloaded straight to your device. Bosh. That's it. We're going to get into day 1. I've got nothing else to tell you. So we've got prices for you for our opening race on day 1. But day 1 is, in case anyone is in doubt, the best day at Royal Ascot. 3 Group 1s, proper day. I don't know how much of an interesting betting heat the Queen Anne is for people though, because Baaeed is 1.22. There will be a without market you can play with. Real World is 11.5. Order of Australia is 25.0. Lights on 38.0, bloody, blah. Not the biggest field and some big prices as well. Okay. Right, Adele, you can kick off first of all. Baaeed 1.22, bet or not?
Probably yes at that price. And then look, obviously, to try and double him up, I suppose. I presume we'll be in everyone's kind of multiple bets. And hopefully he's going to get everyone off to a winning start. I've looked back through so many of his races and trying to see if there's like any chinks in his armour, but I can't seem to find any. I know a lot of the travelling head lads and lasses for Haggis's, and the way they talk about this horse, he really is the real deal. His attitude is fantastic. It's a big stage on Wednesday, but he's got such a lovely nature. The weather forecast is going to be really nice down there, so I think you want a horse that's quite cool, especially in the prelims with such a big occasion. Interesting that William Haggis said he thought he would be maybe even a little bit ring rusty, or he thought he would need the run at Sandown at Newbury. And that was interesting because I'd heard he'd been working well. So yeah, I can't find anything wrong with him, to be honest with you. I thought that was really impressive after 7 months off, and yeah, I'll take him at that price at 1.22 and look to double him up or even put him in a multiple bet as well.
Okay, Baaeed at 1.22, heading the betting. Rixie, your thoughts?
Yeah, look, Baaeed should win. Disappointing field size. I think if we're being honest, only 7 horses in. Potential for this race to get pretty messy now. I know Order of Australia has made the run-in the past, but you wouldn't say he's like an end-to-end front runner that goes a good gallop. He kind of sits and sprints, and Chindit did make the running in the Lockage the last day, but Richard Hannon was on Sky Sports Racing yesterday, where, of course, Tom, you can watch all the races from Royal Ascot as well as ITV, by the way. And he said they're not going to go forward with him. So I don't know, maybe is there a little bit of mind games or whatever, but if that doesn't happen, this could get a little bit messy. If there was 8 or 9 runners, I had kind of was going to put up Sir Buskers in each way shout to hit the frame at a big price, because I thought he ran well in the Lockage, especially as he got so far out of his ground early. He must have been 10 or 12 lengths off the pace at one stage. But I just don't see the pace in the race from here. He's like a horse who likes an end-time gallop. So I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to play the second best horse in the race without the favourite. And that's Real World. Obviously, he was very good over this course and distance last year when he won the Royal Hunt Cup, absolutely bolted up. There was a blot in the handicap that day. has returned well, ran well behind Baid in the Lockinge. He's another horse who would have liked a big field with a strong gallop, but he's a good horse and he likes this track, so I'll stick him up without the faff.
That is how that's how I played the Lockinge, and I was tempted to do it again, to be honest. But I'm happy to just sit back and watch for this contest. Definitely the second best horse in the race, isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And like Order of Australia doesn't have that much to find, but it's his first run of the season. Who knows what kind of form he's going to be in?
Okay, and DC, you like one at a bit of a price?
Yeah, I'm just gonna. This is obviously minimum size bet now. Just taking a swing at this, but I like Zan kind of interested me the fact that she's running. She was she had a few more entries. She's ended up here, as Rixie said. Like a lot of these have already run against Baid this year, and they'll probably have to try different tactics, something to try and get him beaten. And all I'd be hoping for is that it does end up being a messy race, and that she can pick up the pieces. She's in form. She won. She beat Mutasabek on her season debut at Sandown. She had a nice little break. She should be primed for this, and I don't think he'd be running just to come 5th or 6th of this. I think she could be out to hit the frame. So I'll go without, and I'd probably back her 3 places because she's a chunky price.
Okay, yeah, she's a fair old price. That's lights on for Richard Kingscott and Sir Michael Stout. Fair old price in that opening heat. It's a proper renewal because you've got Baid in there, but just the 7 runners. It's perhaps not the strongest betting heat for most. Let's kick on to the Coventry Stakes. And this is going to throw up a few bets, although DC is sitting it out. So this is the 305 Blackbeard. Well, let me start at the top. So Persian Force is 4.1 now. It's been nibbled in, and Blackbeard is 4.2. Age of Kings is 7.6. Bradswell is 9.4. Royal Scotsman 12.0. Scholarship 27.0. Harry Time 28.0. And 38.0, and bigger the remainder. So we've got a horse at the top of the betting, and now favourite in the form of Persian Force. It was Blackbeard that throughout the last 7 days or so was mainly heading the betting. Adele, I'll start with you because I agree. Persian Force just nibbled into favouritism now. We've seen him twice. He's looked very good. He's your selection.
Yeah, I really liked him in the Brocklesby. I mean, he was a standout in the paddock that day physically. Would have been nice to have been down there, to be honest, to see him compared to the others, because he was well ahead of the others that day at Doncaster. And I suppose even the fact that Richard Hannon was even having a runner in the race was a tip in itself, because it's not a race he's supported over the years. Very impressive that day. Just a shame there wasn't a few more runners at Newbury. Obviously, there was only 3 in the race, so but he still looked impressive again and handled the step up to 6 furlongs. Memas was second in the race when he ran in it. I know he's been kind of, they've said he's on the same level as Camford Cliff, so that fills you with a lot of confidence as well. Yeah, just a shame not down there to kind of compare him to the rest of them. I wasn't quite sure with the form of Blackbeard. Obviously, one of the horses that beat him, was it Crispy Cat? He's like 14-1 or something for the Norfolk. So wasn't quite sure with the form. So I mean, you can pull apart form with some of these 2-year-olds. But from what I've seen with Persian Force, I like him, and I've always liked him. So I was going to stay with him for this year for Royal Ascot.
Yeah. So I be honest, I made the selection when he was second in, and I thought that on the count that it should be favourite. I don't know that he's definitely valued, to be honest, at that price, because Blackbeard's 3 from 3 and looked very good. Obviously, Blackbeard's won a great Group 3 last time as well. I have been really taken with Persian Force. He bolted up in that Brocklesby, and then I thought he looked very good at Newmarket, at Newbury even. And it's more just a sort of, the consensus from the yard that he's very, very good, and that he's the best since Camford Cliffs, and they've won a Coventry before, and I'm just been excited about him from early on this season. So I'm happy to put him up. Although at the prices, I'm not sitting here screaming that he's an absolute good thing and that he's great value or anything. But I prefer him given that they're nigh on joint favourites to Blackbeard. And I couldn't really find anything else I was excited about at a bigger price. I wanted to, but I couldn't. You, Rixie, are on the other side then, as far as the top two in the betting. You like Blackbeard over Persian Force.
Yeah, just marginally. But I kind of echo what you all said about Persian Force. He's very likable horse. It's interesting how the Hannon team, how strongly they feel on him. On my own ratings, I've got Blackbeard on 105p and Persian Force on 103. So that's what it just came down to. Basically, there's only £2 between them, which isn't even a length over 6 furlongs. I just thought the last day that something really clicked with Blackbeard. He'd been pretty green. He's very green in his first start when he still managed to win. He was green again second time out. But even though he had total run of the race the last day, visually, it looked like his mind had kind of clicked into gear. And I like how he hit the line. The time of the race stood up very well to, I think it was the Greenlands won by Brad the Brief in the following race. And even that 105 that I gave him, that could have been a couple of pounds higher now. I always tend to rate lower just to make horses kind of work for their rating. So he could be maybe £4 or £5 better than Persian Force, but we'll see. Yeah, so I just went with him. One though I will put up at a big price is the Andrew Balding horse, Holgan, who was second to Persian Force the last day at Newbury. But I just thought the race didn't suit him at all. Kind of pre-race going into it, what we knew about the two of them, you would have said Persian Force is definitely a quicker animal, and they just didn't go any gallop that day, and I don't think that suited Holgan. He's a horse who looks like he'll thrive better off a strong gallop. He's a lovely big good moving horse, and I just think getting a lead off a stronger gallop could see him maybe get closer to Persian Force, but he's a much bigger price than him. So we'll see. The only negative with him is he's drawn low. I like to be with horses drawn high when the ground is fast at Ascot in general, but we'll have to see how the meeting plays out. But just one at a very big price who could run into the frame is Holgan of Andrew Balding. Andrew Balding obviously won the race last year with Berkshire Shadow, so he's one at a price that I just throw in.
Yeah, 80.0. Would you just be win and place and playing 4 places for that, Rixie?
Yeah, that sounds good. That 80 to 1, that's way too big. I know that's only win only, but it would be absolutely no surprise to me at all if he was to run into the first 6. Say he'll run a lot better, I think, than those odds suggest.
81.0, and I absolutely echo that. And I don't. Anyone else wants to chip in on the draw, but a rule of thumb for me is, if it's easier ground, lower numbers, far side can be where it is. And if it's quicker ground, near side. And you tend to see a prevalence towards near side because it's the middle of summer, I guess. But depends on pace and things can change, I know, but that's how I tend to look at it. Have you got anything on that, Adele?
Oh, I completely agree. Every now and again, I suppose you're going to get something that comes over the other side when you always think to stay over the stand side. But I think you've covered it. I think you've got to really be drawn towards the stands from the ground support.
Okay, let's kick on then to the King's Stands, the second of the Group 1s on the day. And we've got Nature Strip now at the top of the betting, 3.4. There was that weird time when Golden Pal, who has to go around the bend, headed the betting at 4.2, but no longer. Twilight Calls 8.6, Man of Promise 17.0, King's Lynn 18.0, bigger prices the rest. DC, I'll let you kick us off here. You've got a shout, win and place. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Fear not, but you've got 30 seconds, DC.
I can do 30 seconds. Enjoy.
I'd say you can. Long time for you,
and a good day. I'm going for kind of at a big enough price in this. I'm going for Equilateral. Now he's I didn't see his price down out, Daniel. You might give that to us down a second, but Charlie Hill's horse, he has run second in this race before behind Batash in 2020. Now he's come back after a long break, but he is actually pretty good after a break. He's won or finished second the last few times. Again, he's a well-established sprinter. I think that the good firm ground will be really in his favour. And again, he's going to be 35.0 for this. Just check his name, put the number in there a second. No, he hasn't yet. He's going to be a very big price for this. So I'm going to back him probably a quarter win, and then the rest are maybe 4 places and 5 places. Just have a few little bets just into the frame, because I think he's a good horse. I think there's plenty in his favour in this.
Are we the bigger field races? Are we going to be 5 places up to 5 places?
Yeah,
you'll be able to play most of them.
I have 5 and 6 and 7. I'd say. Yeah,
Okay,
we're going to put 9 extra places all week and everything. I asked for a few extra places in the Queen Anne, but they wouldn't go beyond 3 for that.
Better than Betfair. Better than Betfair match.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. Whatever they had, +1.
Absolutely, yeah. No doubt.
Those are the views of Declan Rix, and not
What?
those.
Surely you agree with those views? Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, I have to. Yeah, of course I do. 100%.
I think you do have to say that. To be fair,
Damn
you didn't sound too convincing.
Matt, oh no, it's that side. Matt was on his chest. Go on then, Rixie. Take me through this. I think I'm in your camp.
I think this race is very simple, because basically the European sprinters are a bag of shite, and basically I just think they're Group 2 horses at best, and they're taking on one of the greatest sprinters in Australian modern history. Those are the words of James MacDonald, his rider. As we all know, the Aussie sprinters are much better than ours. What's really interesting with this horse, Nature Strip could have been backed at around 11-2, 5-1 2 weeks ago. And his price has just crashed, which really suggests to me that he settled into his surroundings. Well, I think the biggest worry with him was going to be how he took the trip, how he settled in, and if he's going to run his race. Judging by the market, I know a couple of horses weren't declared, like Romantic Proposal of Eddie Lynham's, which is disappointing, and others. But this horse the market has just been moving one way for 2 weeks now. Straightforward horse, gets away from the gates well. He's not like a turn of foot sole power kind of sprinter. He looks like a relentless kind of grinding sprinter that's just able to churn out, sub 11-second furlongs consistently. He's got form over 6. I think the only worry to him is Golden Pal. As we know, he's better around a bend. He has run well at this track. We shouldn't forget he was second to the Learjet in the Norfolk in 2020. So he can run well. I think a lot of people at this side of the water.
Good form, that, isn't it, Rixie? Good form, that Learjet form.
Well, yeah. At the time it was
shite.
Well, that's it. Bag of shite form. Is that what we're going to call that? To be fair, he has improved, and if we're going to kind of appraise him fairly, he wouldn't be the first horse not to turn up and run a race at York, would he? It's not every horse's track. I genuinely think the top 2 in the market could be 13-8 each of 2. They should be taking a bigger chunk out of the market for me. And I think the track probably going to play to the strengths of the Aussie horse more. I would bet him. If you could get even money or bigger about Nature Strip without Golden Pal, I think that's a bet as well I'd be taking. So, I'm all in the Aussie horse here, which pains me because Tim Carroll is, he's going to get on his high horse if this wins, isn't it?
Just seeing his lifetime earnings there on Nature Strip, he's on £9 million.
I thought you meant Tim Carroll.
Yeah, in after time, maybe, yeah.
Nearly 10 million pounds lifetime earning.
Rixie, is there a scenario where you'd back both the top 2 in the betting if you think they should be taking more out of it or not?
No, I'd rather stick with Nature Strip. I just think, in general, really, kind of, this generalization, obviously, but American sprinters, turf sprinters, never been kind of hailed on the world stage, have they? That's always been the case with the Aussie sprinters. And I just think that, he could be beating up inferior opposition in America, but doing it in really quick times. But when horses are able to do their own thing and not have pressure on them, I think they can run good times. So I think his rating is solely based on time analysis as opposed to form. But on the other hand, I think Nature Strip is the full package.
Okay, so I'll just go further on that. I definitely think Nature Strip, I mean, he wasn't favourite at one stage, which I think is mad. I think he's definitely a bet at the prices. I've got nothing really to add. Other than, I suppose the only thing holding me back for going mad is, like, if it is, I don't think it's going to be really quick ground, but if it is good to firm, he's got a little bit to prove there for all I guess you're trying to find negatives there. I don't think it's going to be an excuse necessarily, but he has proved himself with Cup, but not the other way around.
Yeah, I think it's probably worth pointing out, Tom. Ascot are going to put down 8 mils of water today, Monday, ahead of Tuesday. The ground is really quick there, I think, at the moment on the going stick reading, but 8 mils is a significant amount of water. I suppose that will have the rest of the day to dry today and then tomorrow as well. So we'll see. I'd be pretty sure he's encountered quicker ground in Australia. Looking at the times, I don't know now. I don't do their going stick stuff, but I'd be pretty sure he's encountered quicker ground in Australia than he will have raced on tomorrow. But I actually do agree with you. Kind of a bit of rain definitely wouldn't have been a negative for him.
I'll go on, Adele. You make your case.
Okay, I'm like sat here thinking, oh my gosh, I think have I completely read this race wrong.
Who's your bag of shite?
Lazuli, at a big price. To be honest with you, I'm not really excited about this race, and I love sprinters. My friend is actually based in the yard with the Australian horses, and apparently they're absolutely massive. And when I seen the weather forecast down at Royal Ascot, I couldn't have Nature Strip on the ground because of apparently it's very, very quick down there. So I just thought would be better off with a bit of cut in the ground. Golden Pal, I think, was impressive everywhere other than the UK last year, so didn't like him. And so then I was starting to look for something else. I mean, Winter Power, she was so disappointing at Haydock, and I spoke to David Allen afterwards and worrying about her that she runs in a tongue tie, and he said she made a noise, so she might end up having to have her win done. So that's a shame if she does, because I mean, if she can get back to her best form, she's such an exciting filly. But that was a little bit of a worry for me that she made a noise. I mean, she was unfit and she did blow up, but still having that she already has a tongue tie on, so it's not great. So then I was looking for something that I thought maybe still has a little bit more improvement. So that's when I come down on Lazuli. I know his form's probably not all that great, having only beaten Acclam Express out in Maiden, but I just think this horse is really just now starting to look like the finished article as a 5-year-old, as a sprinter. So I was just kind of looking for something that I think would have still a little bit more improvement. Won't mind the ground at all. He won't mind that. He looks a very straightforward ride. So yeah, I've gone down on him at a really big price. I think he's like 32, 33 or something, is he?
Yeah, I think our producer can confirm the Lazuli. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Keep an eye on Cardem there. I'm going to put that horse up at 36.0, 32.0 for Lazuli. So I'll say again, Adele.
I called him Lazuli.
Listen, others do as well. Others say Lazuli. I don't know what's right. I don't know why I say Lazuli. It just sounds a bit more, I don't know. Other people say Lazuli. Don't know what's right. Whatever DC thinks is right. What's it called, Dees?
Lazuli, I think. Lapis Lazuli.
Thanks, pal.
No, but it's the colour. It's the Lapis Lazuli. It's a blue colour.
Oh,
yeah, you're right.
Knowledge.
Oh, I like that. See,
What's a knob? Can't believe we brought him in. Mute him. Right. So the ones I'm going to put up, Cardem with Jamie Spencer booked, I think is very interesting. He won last time. I thought it looked pretty good last time and could have this run to suit because Jamie Spencer is very good on the straight course. Nice quiet ride. Since he's been gelded, it didn't work out in Maiden, but I think he showed at Newmarket last time he's better than that. When I made the selection of Nature Strip, he was second in the betting behind Golden Pal. So the angle was place lay Golden Pal. I really do think he needs to go around the bend. His form here 2 years ago is poor, and York, he ran no sort of race. And I get maybe that was a York thing, but I can't have him. So yeah, place lay Golden Pal, back Nature Strip, and a win and play shout on Cardem. Easy. Can't wait for that all going wrong.
Until the two foreign raiders fall out the back of the telly taking each other on. But to be fair, if people wanted to make a case for a horse at a big price like you guys have, you could see a pace collapse. And we shouldn't forget we had a massive pace collapse in this race last year, didn't we? With Jim Crowley gunning Batash like he was bloody Frankel, and Sylvester gunning the filly of Easterby. So if people wanted to take a swing, you know, I work away.
Right, more more short prices. You've got me saying shite now, Rixie, for God's sake. More
Good word,
short prices, and in the St James's Palace. I'm just reading your comment there, Dee. So I was right about Leslie, was I?
According to Google, anyway. But that's
Yeah,
what does Google know?
Put that in your whatever. And your pipe, he's got a pipe. There you go. Right, on we go to St James's Palace. So prices as follows: Coribus, whatever, is 1.8. My Prospero is 6.2. Maljoom 17.5, as is Mighty Ulysses. 25.0 Lusail. I'll kick off with Berkshire Shadow at 42.0 because that's the shout of DC and Adele. DC, you can kick off.
I thought I was in a right sneaky one, but then I saw Adele had this in the document as well. And it's actually, Adele tipped this horse up last year for the, what race did it? Was it the Coventry? I remember you tipping up anyways to win this race. And he was just something that stood out to me. Ascot Farm, similar ground, finished 5th in the Guineas behind Coribus as well. I just thought, and he was again, he's a standout price. I'd be hard to see him winning now, but he's a massive price, and I think there's a few of them there in the top could be vulnerable to a finish. So I can see Berkshire Shadow definitely running to a place, and we should have 3 or 4 places for this anyway. So I'd probably back him in the 3 places and the 4 places, and maybe just the tiniest bit in the win, just in case.
Adele, what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, I did tip him, and then when I was doing like my paddock inspections down at Royal Ascot last year, I remember picking him out, and I really wanted to go with him as my paddock spot because I couldn't, like I said, I was going to say, I can't believe what he's achieved already as a 2-year-old, because he was kind of a bit of a shell of a horse, and I think he would have been better as very much as a 3-year-old, and he ended up winning the Coventry, and I still think he's going to be a nice 3-year-old, and he handled the step up to a mile in the Guineas, and I know it was his first run back, and it was his first try at a mile, and I didn't think it was bad at all. So I still think he's very much worth another go at the trip. And I mean, he was the only one to finish, I think, in the first 5 anyway, or the first 6 that were ridden prominently that day. I mean, he was out on the front end with the leaders. So I just think he's massively overpriced. So yeah, I liked him last year, and I think he'll be a nice 3-year-old this year.
Okay. Rixie, what's going to happen here?
I suppose the key thing for me in this race, there doesn't look like a lot of pace on here. I don't think you'd want to be 6 or 7 lengths off the gallop early here, especially coming around that bend at Ascot, where they can kind of just concertina in behind. And with that in mind, I think maybe it's worth taking on Coribus. Just don't get me wrong, he's got the best form in the race, absolutely no doubt about that. But you could maybe pick holes in the Guineas win. I'd be pretty confident he was on the best part of the track that day. I think all the results at Newmarket over the 3 days suggested being drawn low was a positive, and the going stick readings definitely on the day that he won suggested that as well. So maybe is he a little bit flattered on the day? And then Native Trail obviously went to the Irish Guineas, which was an awful race, and I wouldn't say he scrambled home, but I wouldn't say he boosted the form massively. I think on paper, people will just say, "Oh, it's a boost of the form. He won a classic," but it looked a terrible Irish Guineas, and he didn't impress. So I think the way the race is going to pan out, my main play in the race is going to be the William Haggis horse, My Prospero. Beat Reach for the Moon the last day at Sandown in the Heron Stakes, but this horse has just been a work in progress. He's getting better and better at racing, but what I do like about this horse, and I think that could maybe help him win the race, is his gate speed. He jumps well and he gets into stride well. I hope Tom Marquand can maybe just steal 2 or 3 lengths on William Buick. Maybe Coribus getting a bit of traffic, and Tom Marquand can quicken away and win. To be fair to my Prospero, he finds a lot for pressure, this horse. He's really likeable off the bridle, he won't be stopping. So if Buick is too far out of his ground, I could see him scrambling to try and close him down late. There are a couple in here I'd mention at wild prices. Bayside Boy, what price is he there?
Outsider, I think. I mean, big. I'll confirm
Yeah,
it for
like
you.
Nearly. Are we talking maybe three figures? Nearly, no.
I would. Massive.
Yeah,
can't see it.
that is.
Oh no, yeah. Well, no, six. So the exchange down the bottom will fill, but 60.0 at the moment, so not quite.
Yeah,
but I think
that is. Sorry, Tom. Crack on.
No, that's it. Go on.
I just, for a horse who finished third in a Guineas and third as well not third in a Dewhurst and third in a Virtue Futurity Trophy, that is a huge price. I think you can easily forgive his run in the French 1000 or French 2000 Guineas, or as Laurent Barberon calls it, the Poulain d'Essai de Poulon. The variant team weren't in good order at the time. He had a wide draw, and I thought Olivier Pellier had an absolute nightmare on him as well. The variant team are back in decent order, and I could see him running well at a big price. Also, Angel Blood is another horse at a very big price. I could see going well. I think a lot of people will say his best form is on softer ground. I would agree with that, but he's a horse who moves very well. I think he could handle the ground better than the market suggests. The only thing I wanted for him is a strong gallop, because he can be a little bit keen. But if Rob Hornby kind of gives him a similar ride to what Dettori gave him last time out at Newbury, I think he could outrun his price as well. This is a fascinating race. If Caribus kind of blows out here, I might be looking at kind of combination exactas and trifectas with all those horses that I mentioned there, the Haggis horse, Bayside Boy, and also Angel Blood. Those horses are desperately overpriced, and I'm sure Matchbook will be offering extra places in the place market, and there'll be extra places with others as well. They're definitely worth shopping around those, especially if the vibes from the respective yards of Rafe Beckett and Roger Varian are good.
Yeah, Damon Moffat has said not a lot of love for Caribus on all the podcasts. There are others. Don't think he's done much wrong, but I guess
just a price thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I think he'll win, and I think he's the best horse in the race. I'm just not that keen to get stuck in at those sort of prices.
And the fact he's away from Newmarket for the first time.
Interesting. Good point.
And I definitely think that there's a chance, had Native Trail had they switched sides, they would have been a lot closer. So the way I'm sort of leaving Caribus out of it, I don't want to back him, I don't want to lay him, but I do think that Lusail was if you watch that Guineas run back, I wasn't sure he'd stay a mile. He did, and if you watch the race back, he was unlucky, 100%. He was short of room. He then switched to the stand side, worst part of the track, and made up ground. I think he's a great bet, win and place. So that's how I'm going to play it, on the angle that Rixie mentioned there, that everything that raced near side was unfortunate. So yes. There you go. I'm just reading Alex Jeffrey's comment. Caribus out the price that he is, 1.8 to 11. That's what Alex has written. Tempted, but Ascot's a scam, so he won't get it done. Interesting. Angel Blur for place money still makes more sense, which is exactly what Rixie's saying. Okay, are we done on St James's Palace, everyone?
Let's move on. I think I did that to death, to be fair. Apologies.
No, it's good. Don't worry. Listen, it's Ascot. We're not going to get it done in under the hour. That's it. So
exactly. Who makes these schedules?
It's Royal. Exactly. It's Royal Ascot. What are you going to do? It's not an NFL podcast. You can't do it in 40 minutes. Incidentally, if you've got a Matchbook account, you can like this video and you can DM at Team Matchbook on Twitter for a £10 free bet. It's the offer only available till the end of the broadcast. I know a few of you have done that already. Damon's done it and a few others have as well. So you can do that for a £10 free bet. If you've got a Matchbook account, like this video and DM Team Matchbook on Twitter for a £10 free bet.
And just DM us your Matchbook username, Damon.
Yes. Okay. So DM your Matchbook username. There you
Thank you.
Open up an account, get your £30 sign-up offer,
Yeah.
which I'll come to, and then at the same time, you can get your free... I tell you what.
Yeah, and you have another 45 minutes to an hour to open up the account by the time this is over as well. So
At least.
don't worry about it. Yeah.
As I said, better than Betfair. Better than Betfair.
Yeah.
Let's kick on to the 5 o'clock. This is the Ascot Stakes. Oh, just a quick round the houses. Deasy, Ascot or Ascot?
Ascot.
Rixie, Ascot or Ascot?
Ascot.
And Adele, Ascot or Ascot?
I know the correct answer because I was told last year what to call it. It's
Yeah.
Ascot.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's Ascot, not Ascot.
Ascot.
Yeah, Ascot.
Oh,
Yeah, Rixie, you were wrong.
shite.
Yeah.
Which I would have called it that anyway, because in Yorkshire we would say Ascot.
Yeah. They've gone on a Yorkshire saying because Yorkshire people are always right.
I'm far too rough to be going to this meeting for 5 days.
Right,
Harry Herbert's going to see me walking in and he's going to go, "Who is that pleb?"
Yeah. Yeah. He'll think you're security or something. Right, on we go. This is the Ascot Stakes. Bring on the Night 5.8, Pied Piper 6.4, Arcadian Sunrise 8.0, Cultane 12.5, 14.5, Marshall Plan, Rashun last year's winner 17.0. That's as far down as I'm going to go. I'll just kick off very quickly, and it's so boring. I think Bring on the Night's a fair bet here. I know Willie Mullins has won it before, not with his first string, but he has done it twice with Ryan Moore with his first string in the last 10 years. Bring on the Night was supplemented for the Supreme. He was a bit disappointing, I know, at the Punchestown Festival. I know he's won on soft, but he's a Glen Eagles, and his dam side doesn't scream soft ground. I'm quite excited to see him on the sound surface, and I actually thought he'd be shorter. So it's a muggy punt on the fab in a 20-runner field, but I think he could well go off shorter. Peter's Punt says, "What the hell is Pied Piper doing in here?" Adele, you can answer that as you tell us about last year's winner.
Okay, well, I think Gordon Elliott is quite keen to take advantage of a few of these races. There was another horse, trying to think of its name, the one that ran, that he got from Keith Dalglish, that he was wanting to run as well on the flat this year, just trying to pick up I presume, decent pot of prize money. And why not? I mean, Pied Piper he's quite attractive even on his hurdle form. Never mind on his flat form, but I just think no one's going to be offering Rashun at last year's price anyway. This seems to be his mark, Rashun. I just think you know what you're getting with him. You know he stays the trip. Although Willie Mullins is, the jump trainers have very much dominated this race for so many years, but so is Ian Williams. He's so shrewd. So I've kind of I went round in circles with this race trying to find something at a decent price other than one of Willie Mullins's and Gordon Elliott's. So that's why I've come down on Rashun, because like I say, you know what you're getting with him. He handles the track, he stays the trip, and he's a big price, so you can play him at the win and place market. Pretty simple, nothing too fancy about it. Yeah,
Rick, Dease, you are half in agreement?
Yeah, same. Even his last run there at Haydock, they dropped him back to 1.5 miles, and he stayed on very well. It might just take him a bit longer to get fitter now that he's a bit older, but I thought he was a bit of a value bet. And the other one then is Coltrane, who I thought ran an absolute cracker last time in the Chester Cup behind Cleveland, was unlucky to win and was beaten by an outrageously well handicapped horse. So I'll just have the two of them little win place bets.
Rixie?
I'm not totally convinced by the Mullins horse. It's probably worth pointing out that when he's won this race, he has won it with more kind of hardened campaigners, older horses, kind of with more runs over hurdles. I suppose the caveat to that is he potentially hasn't shown his hand on the flat, and he could be very well handicapped. But I'm not sure he's that much of a stayer. I was a little bit disappointed with him in the Supreme. He didn't make up any ground. He actually lost ground on John Bond from the second last to the line, despite John Bond being in the teeth of the gallop from the get-go. So I'm not sure he's as strong a stayer as some would think. I suppose the other thing is it all depends how the race is run, isn't it? If they crawl around, it's going to ride like a 2 mile race and not a 2.5 mile race. I think of the two at the top of the market, I'd definitely be with Pied Piper. Oh,
Do you
excuse
have any
me.
doubts about his stamina? Somebody's raised that. Tom Leach says he won't stay, Pied Piper.
A little bit, but I suppose not as much. He did win over 2 Mile 1 on the new course at Cheltenham in a race that was running a strong gallop. Jamie Spencer, we know what Spencer's going to do. He put him to sleep. I think Gordon's put the tongue tie on him as well. I think that's probably just to help him settle a little bit quicker. I would think Pied Piper is a stronger stayer of the two, but the negative with him is he's been on the go for a good while. So the horse that I liked at the prices, who looks like he's clearly been trained with this race in mind and is trained by a National Hunt trainer who do very well in this race, is actually Proskima of Dan Skelton's. Just in terms of ratings over hurdles, I've got Proskima rated 145 over hurdles. I've got Pied Piper rated 141, and I've got Bring on the Night rated 134. So on jumps ratings alone, Proskima is the best in here. I know he has to give them a little bit of weight, but not much. I just like his prep. He ran very well at Haydock over 3 miles the last day. That was his first run in 175 days. Comes here fresher than most. James Doyle is going to ride. We shouldn't forget this horse once upon a time ran in a St. Ledger for Tom Dascombe, and he was 8th in a very strong St. Ledger, won by Kew Gardens from La Tidar. This horse has been a quality animal for a long time. It just probably doesn't get the ground he wants over jumps consistently. As a declaration of war, he's going to get that now on Tuesday, tomorrow. And I just think at the prices, he's definitely overpriced. I could see, I'd be pretty strong on him now, win and place. I think he's a proper each way bet, or win and place. Sorry, Sully Clemmy.
Quite right too. Right, let's move on to any other bets on the Tuesday. So first day, any other bets? Adele and I did a copy and paste job with you, Adele, because I agree that Juan Elcano has got a fabulous chance, unpenalised, for that win in this last year and can double up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone's seen ITV when I pointed him out at Sandown in the Gordon Richards that he was nowhere near what he looked like when he won the Wolverton last year. He wasn't in his coat. He's a horse that really does come into himself. Like in the summer, in June, he always runs well that time of year. I will be keeping a close eye on him to see how he looks though. But as long as he kind of looks as well as he did last year, I'd like to have him on side. Hopefully he doesn't shorten up too much because I'd like to play him at the win and place market. So yeah, Juan Elcano. I think he could run well again. So yeah, fingers crossed he does.
Yeah, I've just gone to the clicked on the wrong thing, but he was second in, which I was surprised about. Well, maybe even third in. I actually thought he'd be favourite for the Wolverton, but I'm just going to confirm it for you now. You've got Cadillac at the top of the betting, half a point shorter than Juan Elcano, who is 8.0. So I thought that was 9.0. Sorry, I thought that was fair enough. Yeah. Regal Reality is 9.8 there. Star Safari 10.5. I don't think it's a very good race. Cadillac 8.2. Juan Elcano 9.0 for Adele and I. Rixie.
In the same race, I'm interested in New Mandate of Rafe Beckett and also West End Charmer of the Johnson, Charlie and Mark Johnson. New Mandate was disappointing in the lockage behind Baid, but I went back and watched that race. He shaped a hell of a lot better than the distance beaten. It looked like he was going to be a strong player 3 out, but I just think he bounced. It was a second run off an interrupted prep. But I think Rafe Beckett said this horse was very, very sick last year and they didn't know what was wrong with him. He said he was out in the field for ages. And I think there's a good chance that he bounced. I've heard he's in good order at the moment. The trip is a little bit of an issue as well, but there's not a lot of pace in this race. And if it turns into kind of a 10 furlong sit and sprint race, he could maybe out sprint a few of these late. I'm also interested in the Johnson horse, as I said. He's been very hard to train, but he struggles to put runs back together. But it's interesting he comes here. I just thought he ran in that race a good one the last day behind Majestic Dawn. It was a really messy race. Majestic Dawn got loose in the lead, and I thought West End Charmer did well to close him down. I thought he was given a bit of a strange ride. He was either very rusty or they had a race in mind in the future. Franny Norton was very easy on him until maybe the last kind of half a furlong, and he ran on very well. If that race was kind of a prep race for this to set him up nicely and he's in good order, I can see him going close, hopefully with a more aggressive ride where he can dominate from the front. So those two in the Wolferton at decent prices for me. What are you laughing at?
What I'm laughing at, Rix, is just some comments have come in the chat there, offering cheap sex. So got me quite excited. But I presume that don't click on that, anyone, because and it's been removed, so that's good. I wasn't going to talk about it, but then obviously you saw me laughing, so there we are. There we are. I'm
glad you did now.
No, I'm glad I talked about it as well. Right, mine back on the job because Rix is getting cultish. Let's move on to. Are we done on any other bets? Just everyone had a go. No, D. Sorry, cheap sex threw me. Who's your other bet?
Chose us all, Tom. I agree wholeheartedly with New Mandate, but I didn't get the chance to copy and paste that across. I think he'll go well in that race. But Cleveland is the bet of the day. He should have been that last race, the Copper Horse handicap, by with his head in his chest. I think he's still priced
3.9.
He'll go off shorter than that, and then he'll win easy.
Love it. And incidentally, 22.0 and 18.5 were the respective prices for DC Rixie Shouts, West End Charmer, and New Mandate. The 22.0 and 18.5. All right. Let me tell you about the sign-up offer. I mentioned it already. It's a £30 welcome offer. It's the ongoing offer for new customers only. Money back as a free bet if your first bet loses. Insights 30 is the bonus code you need to use for that. Those are the numbers 30. Insights 30. You place your first bet. If it loses, you'll get your stake back as a free bet up to £30. The full terms and conditions are on the Matchbook website. 18 plus. Be gamble aware. You know by now that with the Team Matchbook Exchange, you're likely to be getting best odds, and so it's well worth opening up an account and having a bet. And if it doesn't win that first bet, you'll get your stake back as a free bet up to £30. What's not to like? On we go then to the Queen Mary. This is Ascot Wednesday, day 2. Right, we've only got a couple of shouts here, so I know DC and Rixie are swerving it. Unbelievably, Adele and I agree on Dramatised here, who is 6.5. So 4.3 for Love Reigns, the Wesley Ward filly. Dramatised is 6.5. Katie Content is 11.0, as is Maria Bramwell, who I think is your other selection. So take it away, Adele.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to put whatever Cal Burt runs, really. I have heard that they went away and did a racecourse gallop at Ripon the other day, and Dramatised worked very, very well. So that's put in quite a bit more confidence. She's got a lot of natural speed. Carl knows the family well, having trained the mother. I've just heard so many positive things about her from the stable. So I like Dramatised. And then Maria Branswell. I know obviously Danny will have had the pick of what he could ride with Dramatised, and then Maria Branswell, who is also part of Clipper Logistics. It's like a syndicate that's been set up by his homebreds. So I just thought her form's not all that bad, especially when you bring in Blackbeard, because the horse that she beat was second to that horse, and then that he went on and won a Group 3. So she proved herself against the boys in the National Stakes. So I know she's already won at listed level. So I just thought, you never know, Danny might have just got it wrong, but he will have been riding them out very closely over the last couple of weeks, and he has picked Dramatised because she worked so well at Ripon. But I'm still going to have Maria Branswell just for a place bet as well.
Okay, I'm going to play it very similarly. I love Reigns. I used to think they were all over bet, the Ward fillies, and now I think it's half reverting to that they're getting interesting. But I don't know. There is something about I think the edge has gone slightly, and there is something about the way they go about it. It can set it up for others, and I like where Dramatised is drawn. And I was so taken with that Newmarket performance. I haven't got much to add to what Adele said. And the other one I like at a price, let's see if I can get to the price, Carmella, 41.0. So she won at Yarmouth on debut. Then at York, she got absolutely mullered at the start, and then was made up ground on the wrong part of the track. It all developed away from her. She will need to improve on that. She beat Cold Case, a subsequent winner, last time at Carlisle, and I thought beat him pretty well in the end. He hit the front and she battled on back. I think a stiff 5 will suit. I'm really surprised she's the price she is. I guess it's because she's been beaten, and sometimes they're not such a sexy type when they've been beaten in a race like this. I think win and place. Of this day, I'm probably most excited about her. So there you are, Carmela for me.
Can I just say about Dramatise, after she won at Newmarket that day, I thought it was interesting that Carol Burke said she's very good, but there's an edge to her. So it might be just worth watching her in the parade ring and on the way to post. He said it sounded like her mind could be awoken further after a run, and she could be a lot sharper, and she could run keen if she was taken on for the lead. That's kind of what I read into it. So that's maybe I just thought I'd throw that in there, just given what Carol said.
Yeah, absolutely. At least to be quiet, Ascot. Nice and chilled. Because we've still got a little bit of the broadcast left, just a reminder, and I know plenty have gone. I think there are 5 £10 free bets left. So 5 £10 free bets left. You just need, if you've got a Matchbook account, just DM Team Matchbook on Twitter with your username, and also give this video a like, and you'll get a £10 free bet. A few thank yous coming in for their free bets. So good stuff. Okay, let's kick on to the next. Can't even remember what it is. What is it next on the Wednesday? The Queen's Bars, of course. Okay, Adele's turn to sit this one out. I'll just kick straight off with a small bet on Anchorage, who's 21.0. I think you could do worse than back Aidan O'Brien horses at prices, particularly Sons of Galileo, stepping up in trip off the back of one run. I know perhaps he's not very good, but I think he could be better than we've seen. Sorry, my price is absolute toss. 10.0. I was quoting the price before declarations, but that's when I made the selection. I think that stepping up in trip is going to be a massive plus for this horse. I think the impression was he was probably not quite ready for the run at the Curragh last time. And Aidan O'Brien's got an excellent record in the race. I'm not all that taken with Nahani. I'm not sure he's, I know it didn't work out for him in the Derby. I just was keen to take him on at the top of the betting. I'm just not all that taken with him personally as a horse in this grade, but we'll see. Rixie.
Yes, I liked the Godolphin. It looks like second strings on jockey bookings. I'd be with you on Nahani. I wouldn't have much interest in backing a horse coming from the Derby here, especially he's been very busy and he was slow away the last day. Maybe mentally he's just maybe starting to go the wrong way. We'll see. But on the other hand, Half It, also trained by Charlie Appleby, going to be ridden by James Doyle. He's a lovely big son of Dubawi. He's out of a Galileo mare. I haven't seen too much of that cross recently, but what we've seen is there's been thrown some nice horses. I just think he's a horse who's crying out for a step up and trip, to be honest. He's a real pro, goes through his races nice. He's a bit of a galloper. He is probably susceptible to a horse with that little bit of class that has a change of gear. But the cheek pieces go on first time. I think for the first time in maybe a couple of runs, he'll get a nice gallop to run at here as well. If James Doyle can just tuck him in there in second or third, chasing a nice even gallop, I think he'll run well. We should remember there that the 1 mile 6 start is at the front of the stands. The first bend comes up very quick. It's a horrible start. I really wish they would push this race back out to 2 miles in truth. But he's drawn 1. He can jump from the gate and get a nice posse. Hopefully the cheek pieces sharpen him up a little bit. And yeah, I just thought he was rock solid. It looks a pretty poor renewal here, to be honest. So I don't think it's going to take much to win it. And I think he's marginally got among the best form in the race as well. So I'd be pretty keen on him winning place because he's such a straightforward, likeable horse.
And Matthew Collins says, Elderov and Baltic Bird forecast, the latter of which you agree with these.
I do, and I was just looking at his price there now, and I got a bit of a fright because he's second favourite in some books, but I'd be hoping he'd be about a 10.0, 11.0 shot on the day. look, he's a horse that seems to be learning on the job, learning with his racing. He's after finishing third, second, and first now in his last 2 races. Thought he was good at Yarmouth the last day. Thought he won going away from them. I think the step up 2 furlongs will be in his favour. He's actually finished third behind Nahani in a season's debut, but I think there's a lot to like about him, and I think that he's going to be a win place price. I had another horse picked up for us, but it wasn't declared, so I had to pivot and go for something else. So we'll stick with Baltic Bird each way.
Adele, do you have anything to say on the race?
I just wanted to say something about Nahani because I picked him out for the Derby, and he only came into the parade ring to do 1 lap round, and he had a red hood on, and he was still wound up even just doing the once round. I know the fireworks probably set a few of them off, but he did get really, really wound up. And obviously Rixie said about the start being by the stands. So it was, I liked him, but when I just take everything into consideration and about how he was and how he coped with that day, I just don't think he'll handle the prelims at Royal Ascot.
That is interesting. Adam Kirby had said after the fireworks, he was one of those that really didn't appreciate them. All right, should we kick on to the Prince of Wales? Good stuff. So, top of the betting for the Prince of Wales, you've got Bay Bridge, who's 2.38. Next in is Shaya. Interested Rixie shout here, 4.5. State of Rest is 6.5, 9.0 for Grand Glory, and 10.0 for Lord North. So we don't have the biggest field. What we do have is a potential star in the form of Bay Bridge. I just want to come to you first of all, Rixie, because I know you've got a lay in here, and you've also got a bet you want to have. So take us through those if you can.
I suppose probably start from a pace perspective here. You've got Bay Bridge, Lord North, Sharia, State of Rest, and the French trained filly Grand Glory. All of those horses usually like to just sit off the gallop. You know, this race could really get messy. I think you're going to need a horse who races professionally and has got that kind of change of gear. And look, while Bay Bridge could absolutely go and bolt up here, I think he's just a little bit short in the betting for what he's done so far. Look, what he did in the Brigadier Gerard was very good, but he did beat Mostahaf, who gave him £3, and Mostahaf I think is a real kind of galloping Frankel who'd be susceptible to a horse with a change of gear and a little bit of class. And to be honest, that's what the French filly Grand Glory has. I'd be really impressed with her this season. She looks like she's improved again. She's just kind of got that typical French kind of style about her. She sits, waits, and has got a potent change of gear. And I think that's what could settle this race. The last day when she won the Prix Allée France, I think her penultimate furlong, she hit 10.76 despite them going a decent gallop. But I just think that change of gear could catch a few of these out in this race, in a race where there's no pace. I'm dead against this Japanese horse. I think he's an awful price. I think he's been priced up basically on the reputation Japanese racing he's been gaining over the last year or 18 months around the world. They've had loads of success in Australia, in Hong Kong, in Dubai, in America as well. They're going well. But this horse, he beat Yabir last time. Yabir, who must have spotted him about 12 or 14 lengths, and he only beat him a neck in a race that was run in a real tactical manner, and he sat third. This is the same Yabir, remember, who beat Broome in a Breeders' Cup turf. You know, I know he's a Breeders' Cup winner now, but that was a poor race. I just cannot have him. I think he's going to be, of all the horses in this race with his form over 12 furlongs, he's going to be most inconvenienced by the race, a tactical run race, and he drops in trips. So, more than happy to take him on.
Who should be favourite, Rixie?
Who should be favourite? The stout horse, Bay Bridge.
It should be favourite. Okay.
No, absolutely. I just don't think he should be as short as he is.
And what about people who say, look at the Shima Classic, it's produced Alan Kerr and Hakub 6th and 7th who've come out and won Group 1 races since. It's really good form. The form I think is solid, but I think Alan Kerr has dropped back to 10 and won it.
won a Group 1, but we have to remember in that Group 1, the Aidan O'Brien, big, beautiful boat of a horse, I can't think of his name now, High Definition was second. Hookham was very good, obviously, in the coronation at Epsom, but, Pile Driver, is he a world beater? Even when Pile Driver won the race the year before, I don't think he handled the track too well, especially the straight. So while the form has got a rock solid look to it, I don't think it's not as if those horses have gone and improved 7 or 8 pounds subsequently. I think they've probably improved 2 or 3, and it's given the races the race a much more solid look. But look, you're here to kind of offer views. I'm more than happy to have my backside handed to me. The one thing I will say about the Japanese horses, the likely firm ground is going to be in his favour, because those Japanese horses like it rattling quick. Bay Bridge, he's a horse who's got to prove himself on ground this quick. And even Grand Glory, she's a horse who, maybe doesn't want it as quick as well. So, look, I'm here to offer a view. I just cannot have him. I could easily see him running well, beating 4 lengths, but finishing 4th.
I agree with everything you said. I just thought I know that some people will want to throw that out there, and
no, absolutely.
So I'm a huge Bay Bridge fan. I think he is potentially the best middle distance horse in the country, potentially. But one thing I've got in the back of my mind is that I'm slightly concerned about conditions. He's never had ground this quick. And I do still think he'll come into his own over 1.5 miles. I'm pretty sure he'll be aimed at the arc. But I still am going for him, but just probably not as confidently as I would if he was a little bit bigger in the market. Adele, you are with Bay Bridge.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see him at a bit bigger price. Completely agree with Rixie on the Japanese horse. Can't have that at all with your beer.
Oh, the Japs won't be welcome here. Oh,
not for me. And Bay Bridge is the one that, he's the potentially, like you say, Tom, the nicest horse in there going forward. Will even get further as well. He's bred to get further. You never really get much out of Sir Michael Stoute, do you, anyway? But he said he thought he would be rusty on his return, and he wasn't. He looked an absolute aeroplane. So if there is more improvement in him, then, surely he's the one to beat and take a step forward. The only negative is the ground, because we don't know. He's not ran on that. I just
Does
think
it worry you? Does it temper your enthusiasm for him a bit, or is there a chance to be better on quick ground?
Yeah, it doesn't worry me. I suppose it's just because he's not gone on it yet. It's not as if, it would worry you if he's ran on it and been beat on it, but he hasn't even ran on it yet. We're all presuming it's going to be good to firm ground down there. For all we know, they could be sticking on loads of water. I don't know, but potentially, I think he's the nicest one in there.
And always looking for a bit of value, Micheál Deasy.
That's what you got to do, Tom. That's what you got to do. I thought Lord Knox price was crazy. I thought he's, what are you talking? Is he 10.0? You could be getting that in the day. He's a previous winner of this. He never really runs a bad race. I think he's rock solid. He has course distance form, obviously. He's had a few runs out this year. That run the last time behind Alan Kerr, was nothing wrong with that. When he finished a length and a half, but a length and a bit behind him in Taharzal Gold Cup. He should be spot on for this. It is a value play. I think Bay Bridge, as you said, has all the potential and could be the progressive one. But I think it's well worth having a bet off Lord North in this, and even possibly in the without market or the 2-place market, just to cover the win bet. I think he's it is a price thing, but he's a top class horse.
Do you want to apologise, Rixie?
Yeah, I think I might have said the Japs. I meant to say the Japanese. That's probably not a good thing to say. So apologies if I offended anyone there. I can't remember what I said, but just in case, I got a bit excited. As I do. That Coltis has rolled over into 2 races now, you see.
Apology accepted. Yeah, it has. It really has.
Yeah.
Get a hood on him.
And the rest, Chifney bit, the whole lot.
Yeah. Are we done with the bits of Wales? I've forgotten if everyone's gone. Yeah, everyone's gone, haven't they? Good. Right. let's move on to the Duke of Cambridge. And I haven't got the prices up because I'm a moron, so I'll do that in just a second. But first of all, I'll let you kick us off, Dees, because I thought Bashrakova was really good at Epsom last time, and she's having, well, it's not a quick backup, is it, since Epsom, but she's going again. And he's gone again. That's good news. Right, somebody else, just like that. My slight concern with Bashrakova was the ground. I think she's a big girl, and I feel like I'm going on that it's going to be rattling quick on Wednesday. Maybe it won't be. I don't know. Adele, Saffron Beach for you.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was nearly going to sit this one out, but I just think you know what you're getting with Saffron Beach. Worry is a little bit about the ground. Is she really like a good to firm ground filly? Not quite sure. But one thing she will like is being back down to a mile and back against her own sex. So I think she's a worthy enough favourite based on what we've seen last year. Mother Earth has got cheap pieces on for the first time. Obviously, they think she's not trying her best. I nearly went with Bashrakova. How am I saying that?
Bashkirova, something like that.
Bashrakova.
It is Bashkirova, but I was calling her Bashrakova for the whole of the broadcast I did on Derby Day.
Bashkirova. Right. I'm not going to say that one again. Anyway, it was only 11 days ago. So, I suppose I'm going for one that I know will appreciate being back down in trip into a race with her own sex, and she's fresh. So that's why I've gone for her.
If we're struggling to say Bashkirova, I hope we get Royal Hunt Cup right. Anyway, that's coming up next. Deasy, Bashkirova.
Bashkirova, yeah, was just very good at Epsom last time. I can see her. I like Saffron Beach. Obviously, has to give her a few pounds, and Mother Earth. Not too sure how things are going with her this year, and I just thought she was a value play in this. They had a few entries in this as well. Cheveley Park. They had Lights-On and Potapova as well, and Bashkirova is the chosen one. So I'll take that as a tip in itself. Tom has gone there now, so we'll go to you. Rixie, have you given your?
No, I don't fancy anything in the race strongly. It looks potentially it could get messy. If it transpired that there was a strong pace on here, I was hoping there'd be a nice big field, because I've been itching to see this Sevilla Spain off an end-to-end gallop on the straight track. I think that could really, really bring out the best in her, but I'm just not sure there's enough runners in here for her to get covered up and maybe enough pace. I think November will likely go forward, but whether there's enough of a gallop on, I don't know. It's probably worth saying that Mother Earth was an absolutely colossal drifter ahead of the Lockinge. Maybe she had a very busy year last year. When she won on her comeback race, the form wasn't great in that race, and you do start to wonder now, is she potentially kind of gone at the game? She's a Group 1 winner. You would have thought that they could have gone in the Queen Anne, couldn't they, as well? But they've gone for the much easier option. So yeah, I'd a serious watching brief for those backing Mother Earth. Although I see that she's going to have first-time cheek pieces on, so maybe that will spark her back to life.
Let me give you some prices. First things first, I haven't done that. So Mother Earth is in there at 4.0, as is Saffron Beach. They're joints. Bashkirova is 6.0, November 9.0. I'm going for Prima Bacio at a big old price, 21.0. I actually think a field like this will suit her. I think a strong pace over this trip will be what she wants. She was so disappointing at Goodwood last time. She was a best lave for Charlie Post on the podcast, and he was quite right. But I think this is going to be much more her bag. So I'm going to chance her win and place at a big price. Don't necessarily love her draw, but it's only a field of 8. I think she'll tuck in behind. Okay. Have we all had a go here? Good. On we go. So this is the Royal Hunt Cup. And I'm not going to give you prices. I'm just going to go by what we put up. So first of all, I know you get a load of knobs saying, "Oh, I can't have a bet yet because I want to see what the draw does on Tuesday." What do you think, Rix?
I'd be one of those knobs. Yeah. I think you've got to see how the track is playing. The decks came out a little bit late today on the various websites, so I haven't had a chance to go through and see see where the pace is here. But I'll stick up one at each end. I had a quick glance over. It looked like the good place was down the pace was down the middle. But in general, you want to be on either wing here. I probably didn't Real World, didn't he win this? He was drawn low. He went over to the far side. But I think that whole meeting, a lot of the action was taking place down the stand side. But look, I'll put up one on either side of the track. Drawn low, I will go with Intelligent of Jane Chapel-Hymes. Interesting. This fella, we probably forget, and I did forget myself now before I looked in, but this fella won a Group 1 once upon a time a few years ago. He's a Group 1 winner. He won the Prix Jean Prat in France, and he'd lost his way a little bit. But to be fair to Jane Chapel-Hymes and her team, it looks like they've sweetened him up, because he ran very well in the Queen Anne trial at Ascot on the 27th of April in a race that I didn't think would suit him. They didn't go much of a gallop, but and he finished out his race really well. I could see the nature of a big field, strong gallop race playing to his strengths and bringing out the best of him. I think I had him running to 104 that day. He gets in here off 105, but once upon a time I had him running to 114. So if Jane is able to sweeten him back and get him back into the game, even though he's near to the 4 in the handicap, he could run well. And the other horse that I like is Sinjari. Now, he's drawn down near the stands rail in 33 for the Harry and Roger Charlton team. Kieran Schumacher is going to ride. I just thought he shaped like the best horse on Lockinge Day in that Class 2 handicap that was won by Morad. He went through his race really well, but I just think he needed it. He got to the front, looked like he was going to go away and win well, but he drifted to the stand side and got tired. The overall time in that race stood up very well to what Bailly done in the Lockinge, and it could be a race that hopefully works out nicely. Harry Burns did ride him £5 claimer that day. I probably would have preferred him to keep the ride just to ease the burden a little bit. But Kieran Schumacher takes the ride and hopefully he could run well. I could see him going well as well.
Okay, so a few prices there. No more free bets, by the way. Thank you for those. We are done. I will give you the price about your two selections. So Intelligent is 21.0 Rixie, and Sinjari is, I'll tell you very shortly. He promises. What price were you expecting, Sinjari?
I think given how high he is in the handicap without the claimer, probably 25.
Well, 21.0 is all you're getting. But it'd be interesting to see, because quite often the market reacts to the draw, doesn't it? If anything changes throughout.
Yeah, Adele. Yeah. It sounds like now you kind of want to wait and see what the draw does.
Maybe. No, I'm going high. Adele.
I've gone for Totally Charming, who I know had a little bit to prove at Epsom on the grass, having shown so much on the all-weather, but I thought he handled it quite well. Looks quite a straightforward ride as well. Frankie Dettori's on board on Wednesday. I hear he's booking his own rides. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Dettori, he has been for a couple of seasons now. Was it Ray Cochran retired? Yeah, he's been doing that for I'd say this is definitely his second season. It might be his third, yeah.
So he's trying to get himself down.
He's gone all Lester Piggott on us, isn't he?
Interesting. I just thought I only heard that this year, so I thought that was interesting. But if he's been doing it for a couple of years, it's not a big deal, I suppose. But Totally Charming, I think he proved himself quite well at Epsom, and he's big enough priced to play at the place market in such a big competitive handicap. And Tempest for even bigger price, who doesn't really know how to run a bad race. He's proven himself at listed level, albeit probably not the most competitive listed races, but both drawn well, I think, in high draws. So I've gone for those two, really. Just thought they were big enough price to play at the place market.
33.0 for Tempest, and Totally Charming is 13.0, which I absolutely agree with. £1 well in off the back of Epsom. All-weather form prior to that translates well to this track. I think it is just about drawn, ideally just middle to high. I thought he was a very good bet. The way he travels as well, I think this will really suit him. And then another two I'm going to put up. One is Etonian, who is a big old price. Etonian 41.0, who I'm convinced is well treated off 100. He's not the Group 1 horse they thought he was going to be. He's a good horse, and a nice patient ride up the stands rail out of 27 will definitely suit. And the other one I'm putting up is Bless Him, who won the Britannia here a few years ago. Jamie Spencer gets on perfectly with him, and he is about, I thought a 34.0 shot. Yeah, 34.0. Lots about this will suit at a stall 22. So those are my three. DC, how many for you?
Just the two. I had another one picked up, but he wasn't declared. So the first one is Via Serendipity. He won at the weekend to get his penalty to get in. So he's going to be there right at the bottom of the weights now. He's 8 years old. He's been around a while, but he's plenty course form. Fine in this kind of field. You get a nice win place price. He's going to be about 26.0, maybe bigger. So I'll have a little small bet in him. And the other one is Clive Cox's runner, Aratus.
Yes.
I tipped him for the Victoria Cup, and I thought it was in his favour that day. He finished 9th, 6 lengths behind Vaffortino, but he was just staying on. He did just got away from him. He didn't really get the kick to get out in front. I think step up another mile, or sorry, another furlong to the mile. That should be good for him. He's got the high draw. Adam Corby is on him today. I think he abandoned him the last time. He wasn't right. I'm sorry, he was. But I think he's a massive price. He's 41.0. So and Clive Cox is amongst the winners at the moment. So I'd have a little win place bet in him too.
Could I echo those thoughts? I was going to put him up as well. I think he's a horse. He's a bit of a silly horse. He's very highly strung. He runs keen. If they go absolutely a stupid gallop here and he gets some pace to run at and it helps him switch off, he could go very well. The day at Ascot DC, I think he was drawn on the wrong side. I think everything drawn high that day came to the fore and he was drawn low. He ran quite well, especially given how keen he was. Likes fast ground. If it transfers, I'd agree with DC. If I could have 3 in the race, I'd probably add him in as well.
Done. Let's move on to any other bets on the Wednesday. Just DC and I. And DC, you can kick us off.
Yeah, so I'm just bringing up here now. So the two I have, they're in the Kensington Palace Stakes. So I have Fionn, David Loughnan's horse. She finished second in it last year to her stablemate. I can't think of her name. But she's been out recently. She won recently. She won her seasonal debut. Richard Kingscote is on. She's going to be a win place price. She's probably going to be about 17.0. This has obviously been the target to get her back here, and in order to win the last day hasn't helped her handicap mark, but should be fine. And the other one, I was just having the poke for this as well. This is just something that jumped out at me as I was looking through the race card just before this. Was Pretty Sweet, George Bowie's horse. Now they've booked William Buick for it, and she has first time headgear on as well. And it's the first time as well that she's dropping back and trip. This is the shortest trip she's ever run at. Thought there was just enough little kind of eye-catching things there about it to warrant a small win place bet. And again, she's 25.0. So, yeah.
My one is Gito in the Windsor Castle out of stall 17. The one at the higher numbers who I thought could have this really run to suit was 5-1 at Windsor when just green early and then absolutely flew home. And I'm interested that given the ammo he's got from the yard, that they're sending this horse to drop back in trip for a Windsor Castle. And I thought was a very fair price at around about 34.0 if they have it set up to suit, which they should. A race that's got a history of big prices either winning or running very well in it. So I wanted to take a big price about something Gito for me in that. Lays, best lays, everyone. I think we've all got one as well. They've been going along very nicely. Adele, kick us off. Who is your best lay? I like your answer to this, actually.
Why?
For that reason, I really like your answer to this. You said whoever's out for the King's Stand. I like it.
Yeah, well, I was thinking it was either going to be Golden Pal or Nature Strips. I'm going to lay the two of them, to be honest with you.
That's all right, Adele. That's all right.
purely on the ground with Nature Strip, and favourites don't have a very good record at all in the King's Stand. So that's my lay. Sorry, Rixie.
You can lay them
That's
both.
all right.
Lay them both. You're guaranteed at least 50% right.
Yeah, exactly. Between we might both nail it. Rixie, what's your lay?
My lay is going to be Shariar in the Prince of Wales Stakes. No pace in the race. He drops from 12 furlongs down to 10, and I just don't think his form is that good. I'm going to lay him in the first two places, which will be shorter again. So yeah, I can see him basically getting outpaced and outspeeded. Yeah, sorry to take on the Japanese horse. Welcome to the Japanese guys.
Yeah, you've gone all nice after your Pearl Harbor run. I'm gonna go with Golden Pal as a place lay out the 3, please. That I think he wants to go around a bend, and I think he's just overhyped. Simple as that. Out of America. Golden Pal place lay for me. All right, best bets for Royal Ascot days 1 and 2. Micheál Deasy, your best bet, sir.
Cleveland in the last race, and day 1 is at the Copper Horse Stakes.
6:10 on Tuesday. Adele, your best bet.
Persian Force. Hopefully he's I'm hoping he's going to improve a little bit more this year. He's already been noted as being as good as Canford Cliff, so fingers crossed he is.
I'm going to go for another Hannon horse with Lusail in the St James's Palace. Wynnum Place. Unlucky in the Guineas, given he got no run, then challenged at the wrong part of the track up near the stands rail. And he proved he stayed the trip that day. So I Wynnum Place for Lusail and Rixie.
My best bet goes in the King's Stand. It's going to be Nature Strip from Australia. I think the British and Irish contingent are very, very weak at the moment. This guy, for a long time, has been one of the best sprinters in the world. I could see the track playing to his strengths, and judging by the market over the last 2 weeks, he's had a wonderful prep for the great Chris Waller.
I love it when somebody's best lay is somebody's best bet. It's so good. Just a little bit of spice. Here they are on screen. So you can back all of those together. This is how you can do it. With Cleveland, Persian Force, Nature Strip, and Lusail. You can do that in a combination of multiples with 4. Best way to, well, you can go with a lucky 15s. That's 15 different bets. You can do an accumulator, Yankee, doubles, trebles, lots of ways of doing it. And you can also put it in the place market as well. So there you go. That's what I'll be doing. Good luck, everyone.
Just before we wrap up, please visit attheraces.com/Royal Ascot. We've put together a wonderful Royal Ascot microsite. There is loads of good quality content on there, stats guides, runner profiles, and lots of stable tours, including a stable tour with Ammo Racing.
Great stuff. And it is very good. Always is leading into
Home to Hugh Taylor and Simon Rowlands. You name dropped all the other tipsters except for the 2 main lads as well, Rixie. So might as well get them in there as well.
Those boys don't need my plugs.
And tell me, Aidan, do you believe in stride length?
Oh, you bad man.
No. Thank you, Simon. That's great.
Oh, thanks. Tom Stanley woke up and chose violence this morning.
Honestly, it's just what a man O'Brien is. What a man. Any doubles, Adele, says Peter's Punts?
Any doubles? Well, I suppose, what can I put in? They're all too short, for doubles. I was even trying to think of like a leading jockey bet. I was thinking of doing an each way, a place double with Berkshire Shadow and Tempest for day 2, but I don't know. They're just picked out. That's like a favourite. Just too short for me for a double.
Okay, fair enough. We've had questions in for the 3 guys as well, but no, we haven't. They're just Adele gets picked out. No offence, Rixie, Dees, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's all right. That's totally understandable. Used to it now.
Yeah, that's how it is. Giles says, when are you back? We're back on Wednesday, and I can't confirm the time for you until our wily producer tells me in the chat. But we are definitely back on Wednesday at 12:30.
You're not back. You're not back.
I'm not back. No, I'm not back. I'm gonna
back.
be there, top hatted up. Right. Well done, everyone. Good stuff. Rixie, thank you. Adele, thank you. DC, thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed everything, and I hope we found you some winners as well. Have a tremendous Royal Ascot. Bye-bye.